You know, we have those things in our heads that tell us we can't do this, we can't do that. Those can be the giants that we face. And these are the giants that like 3 main characters face in The Amazing Spider-Man. Welcome to Durbania, I'm Durbin, and this is my theological analysis for The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Spoilers ahead. I am beyond excited for Spider-Man Homecoming. I mean, it's just around the corner, so I've been really excited to go back into the franchise that came out before Spider-Man Homecoming and digging deep into that. So, digging deep into The Amazing Spider-Man 2, it actually reminds me of David and Goliath. You know the story, David with the slingshot, Goliath who's like a 9-foot-something tall giant who's got a spear like a weaver's beam, which is an old-fashioned fancy way of saying that thing is flippin' humongous. He's got 5 stones. Here's how much confidence David has. He has 5 stones, not because he thought he was gonna miss Goliath. 1 for Goliath, the other 4 for his brothers, who are also 9-foot-something. That's confidence. How can David, he's a shepherd boy, so how does he have the guts to volunteer to face Goliath? Because he knew his God was bigger than Goliath and was bigger than him and bigger than everything, and God was on his side. Why does Amazing Spider-Man remind me of that? Because today we're not facing 9-foot-tall giants, but we definitely face chatter in our minds. These beliefs and images we have of ourselves that can be gigantic things. You know, things that talk down to us in our head, that talk to us in our own voice saying, you're worthless, you're a piece of trash, you should be thrown away. You know, we have those things in our heads that tell us we can't do this, we can't do that. Those can be the giants that we face. And these are the giants that like 3 main characters face in The Amazing Spider-Man. I mean, first, Max, Electro, whether you like Jamie Foxx's performance as Electro or not, whatever. To me, his character is so fascinating because we actually get to hear the voices in his head through the musical score of the movie. I mean, holy cow, that's creative in my mind. But we get to hear the chatter that's going on in his head. We get to see the giant that he faces all the time, that belief system that he's powerless, that belief system that he's a nobody. He made this freaking amazing electrical grid, revolutionary for New York City. Of course, it was stolen from him by Oscorp, but whatever. It's his. His design, he's a genius. But the giant he faces in his head tells him he's a nobody and he's a nothing.
Nobody knows my name. I'm a nobody.
Hey, lick that.
You're my eyes and ears out here.
Stay out there.
I mean, is that not real life? I mean, we face that stuff. I mean, he meets Spider-Man, and he's so amazed in that opening scene where he sees Spider-Man, and Spider-Man sees his name on his name badge and says, hey, Max, you're my eyes and ears out here, bro. I mean, he's so taken by it.
What are you doing? You made me a cake? People don't get a chance to see these small, kind things that you do for people. I know what they say about you in the press, but it doesn't matter to me because I know the real you, because you're amazing.
The fact that Spider-Man was the only person that saw him, rather than going, you know, I do have some value and I need to make some changes and change the way I'm thinking. No, what he did was he made Spider-Man his crutch. He latched onto Spider-Man for some type of emotional whatever that he was never going to be able to get from Spider-Man, and poured himself and his identity into it to the point that when he and Spider-Man are meeting in Times Square, he's disillusioned when they shoot at him and he goes to shoot lightning at the guy that shot him, and Spider-Man stops him from shooting the cop. This is immediate disillusionment for Electro, who's built up in his head Spider-Man is his friend. Go back and watch that scene. Whether you think it's corny or not, cheesy or not, just listen to what's going on inside of Electro's head. It's amazing, the words and thoughts that he's listening to, and it's in the song, it's in the words when they're like, all of that just starts, you hear it, and then he succumbs to it.
You lied to me!
No, I'm trying to help you. Let me help you.
And to me, that's what's so powerful about that scene. He decided to finally just believe the giant and go in league with the giant in his head. Next, you have Harry Osborn. And Harry, I mean, my gosh, when he's next to his dad, Norman, when Norman Osborn is dying and Norman, does that little exposition where he talks about, yeah, we sacrificed your childhood, but it wasn't just for me and it wasn't just for you. It was to cure our hereditary disease and to save the world. Why can't you see that, you selfish little boy? I mean, all this stuff that's being said, it's enforcing this idea to Harry because Norman threw Harry away. Norman threw Harry away and sent him away from Oscorp. Sent him away. Harry travels the world. Yes, we get that in this conversation with Peter. But really, he's out there because his father casted him away. So what are the giants in Harry's head? It's that chatter in his head, that belief system telling him that he is trash to be thrown away.
I need you. I need you, please. 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 I know what it's like to be thrown away. Please, Max.
That he is unworthy of his father's throne, and now his father's left him with this hereditary disease, and he's got to find a cure. Finally, he thinks he can find that cure in Spider-Man's blood, and Peter, in order to protect him, says, no, I can't give you my blood. You don't know what this stuff is going to do to you. I can't give you that. But because of Harry's worldview, the belief systems that he's holding, he's seeing that through a different lens, not love, not friendship, not protection. He's seeing that as, what?
I thought you were supposed to save people. I thought that's what you do, is you save people's lives. You're just gonna let me die.
I am unworthy of your blood. I am unworthy to be saved. So when that hope and that light shines, that's what he feels like. It's exposing that. It's like, fine. If you think I'm such a worthless piece of trash. So he goes about this other way, finds the serum, and becomes the Green Goblin. He succumbs to the voices and goes with the belief system. And then you have Spider-Man in this movie, who also is dealing with giants. I mean, the movie opens, I think he is a proud son of a gun. I really think so. He's flying around that city, having the absolute time of his life. I think he thinks he's invincible. I think at this point in his Spidey career, pride has taken over. There's one other set of voices talking to him, guilt. Guilt and pride are talking to him at the same time as he sees the ghost of Gwen's father wherever he goes, feeling terrible that he broke the promise he made to Gwen's father to keep her out of his life. But he just couldn't do it because he loved her. But see, that's the thing about pride. Pride is also pretty possessive. So after he dumps her and then gets back together with her, there's still issues he's working through because pride is possessive. He doesn't really want to leave the city. She's got an opportunity to go to one of the best schools in London, period, and he's kind of holding her back. But they were broken up and she was going for these opportunities because out of guilt, he dumped her, and so she got the opportunity. And now here he is trying to convince her to stay because he wants her to be with him. But again, just like in Amazing Spider-Man 1, this is where we get hope. Hope that things can be changed. Hope that we can slay the giants. Because he slays his giants. And in a sense, because when he learns how much his dad loved him, why his dad left him, he comes out of that train tunnel with, he's just bouncing. Because he now knows why his dad had to leave. He now knows what the spider venom in him really is. And he knows he's loved. He's loved by his parents. And that just took the weight off his shoulders. And then he realized Gwen was leaving. So what's he going to say to her? Is he going to hold her back? No. He says, you're my path. He's going to go to England with her. He'll be Spider-Man in England. Woo! So he has slayed his own giants. Then, of course, we meet the tragic ending where she gets killed. Oh, my gosh. But he so slayed his giants that, yeah, he went through a period of mourning. He went through a period of utter pain. He quit being Spider-Man. But as Aunt May is speaking to him at the end of this movie, saying she's looking down at Uncle Ben's stuff, she goes, the heavier this box gets, the lighter I become. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take one last good look at this, and then I'm going to put it where it belongs. So that's what he does. So Spider-Man takes Aunt May's advice to the best that he can, and we get to see, as that little kid faces off the Rhino, David facing off Goliath, and then Spider-Man shows up behind him. You see him just in his heart, finding strength, holding Gwen Stacy here close to his heart, but he's not holding her back anymore, and he's not letting his mourning hold him back anymore, and he's coming with new strength to be the hero that he just feels called to be. And again, we see this picture of Spider-Man being a hope and a light, because we see that, yeah, those giants can be painful. Those belief systems in us can really knock us down. There might even be more pain in here than we know how to deal with. but we see Spider-Man rise up, and by the end of this movie, making the choice to continue to be Spider-Man. He becomes this example and this strength. And so, like, as Spider-Man is kind of this hope and this light to this city, and we see how these bad guys reacted to this light being shined on them, I gotta tell you, when God shines his light on us, it's not shining his light on us in judgment. It's shining his light on us so we can look and see in real light that those giants in our lives, those mistakes that we've made, those things that are holding us back, all these things are so small compared to him, are so small compared to his light, that they're not even worth comparing to who he is. We don't have to view ourselves as grasshoppers in light of the giants that are in our minds telling us we can't, telling us we're too wounded, telling us we're too trashed. We don't have to listen to that. We don't have to succumb to it. We don't have to obey it. And when the light shines, we don't have to take the light as judgment, showing, oh, you're just trash. That's not what God's light is doing. God's light is showing us how small that is compared to him, so that we can really open our eyes and see Jesus loves me. He's on my side, and he is so much bigger than all of this. Of course, he has victory over all of it. And if I'm walking with him, I'm going to slay these giants. That's exactly how David was able to slay Goliath. God's light was shining in that guy's life. And compared to what that light was showing him about who God really is and how God actually sees David, he's like, who is this uncircumcised Philistine? Who is he that he thinks he could run his mouth about the chosen of God? And you know, that's what God wants us to say in our lives. That when those giants taunt us in our heads and tell us we're worthless, we're trash, we'll never make it, we are too weak and too little, God's light rises up in us and shows us the truth. And we can look at those lies and say, who do you think you are? I'm not that. I'm who he says I am. And God says, you're worth it. That's what I see when I see Amazing Spider-Man 2. Makes me think of David and Goliath. It makes me think of facing down the own giants I've had to face down in my head. And the giants I still face down in my head. But I know God is bigger than them all. So that's what Amazing Spider-Man makes me think about when I watch this movie and when I analyze it and dig deep into it. If you were to dig deep into Amazing Spider-Man 2, what do you think about? Are you excited for Spider-Man Homecoming? Let me know in the comments. While you're there, hit the subscribe button. Next to the subscribe button is that bell. Click that bell. That way you'll get notified the moment I drop new videos, like my live Spider-Man Homecoming review. You might see a little less videos from me this week, but that's only because I'm having a huge old family reunion. And since they're all out, I'm probably not going to do a pre-recorded Spider-Man Homecoming because that takes a lot of work and I really want to hang out with all my family and my nieces and my nephews and all that. But when I do my live Spider-Man Homecoming, I'm pretty sure at least one of my brother-in-laws, who is also a comic book geek, will be joining me, and we will review Spider-Man Homecoming like there's no tomorrow with total enthusiasm and excitement. Yes! So hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, that way you're notified when that happens. Like and share this video. I'm Durbin. Thank you for checking out Durbania.